Okay, so where do I start with this film? So, Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice is directed by Zack Snyder and stars a lot of people. I can't be bothered naming them all. I was excited to see this film. I think it's pretty impossible to not be excited to see a film with Batman and Superman in the title. Like, I don't know how you could not be excited for it. That being said, a lot of things in this film made me nervous going in. The trailers seem to give a lot away. People aren't sure about Ben Affleck, people aren't sure about Jesse Eisenberg, and the early reviews weren't that great. So my expectations going into this film were it probably won't be great, but I'll probably enjoy it because I love Batman, and I actually quite liked Man of Steel. It's not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, but I quite enjoyed it. Now that I've seen the film, I have to say I found it very difficult to enjoy this film. I actually kind of hate it. I really don't like this film. That being said, it's not the worst film I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination. There's far worse films and far worse superhero films as well. But just this film made me hate it. But I'll talk about the films I liked in this film first, because there are quite a few things I loved in this film. Visually, this film is superb. Zack Snyder is a phenomenal visual director. Cinematography is great, the special effects are great. All the characters and their costumes look excellent as well. And Ben Affleck as Batman was phenomenal. He's honestly maybe my favourite live action portrayal of Batman. Like, honestly, his performance was good. The costume and the look of Batman in this film was pitch perfect. I really like the Dark Knight trilogy and Christian Bale, but Christian Bale for me, it always felt like it was Christian Bale trying to be Batman. Like, he was trying his bloody hardest. Like, he really did do a good job, but it never felt like Batman to me, especially with the silly voice as well. But like, when I saw Ben Affleck, especially in certain scenes that I'll get into later, like, that just felt like Batman. Like, I didn't care that it was Ben Affleck and he's a really famous actor or whatever. You know, that just felt like Batman. I will say that Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne scenes weren't as strong to me, not because the acting was bad or anything, I just wasn't as invested in what they were saying. Whereas with Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne, you know, his conversations with Michael Caine in that trilogy were some of the best scenes in that whole series. But Ben Affleck was still great though. His characterization was spot on, his motivations were understood. This was shown in one of the opening scenes of the film where Bruce Wayne was seeing the destruction at the end of Man of Steel and how dangerous Superman could be. And this all made sense to a certain point. Most of the problems with Ben Affleck's Batman was more to do with writing, and I'll get into that later in this review. The action in this film is also really, really good, especially the Batman scenes, particularly a warehouse scene and a Batmobile car chase, which I really enjoyed. And honestly, the last thing I liked in this film, and kind of the thing I liked the most, was Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, which I know is an unpopular opinion, but to me, he was the only character who, like, thoroughly entertained me every time he was on screen. You know, maybe for the wrong reasons. Like, I laughed in pretty much all of his scenes, and, you know, maybe he wasn't trying to make me laugh, but I did laugh. And, you know, he just felt like, I don't know, I feel like he was the only character who wasn't dour and boring throughout the entire film, and was the only person genuinely trying to entertain me, and he did entertain me. So, yeah, I liked him. Okay, so now for the stuff that I don't like. This film is an incoherent mess. Like, it is unbelievable. The plot's all over the place. There's so many things in this film which don't make sense. The annoying thing is, there is the potential for 5 great films in this film, but instead they chose to put them all together in this 2.5 hour film. And yeah, it is just an amalgamation of mess and bollocks. They put all these storylines together into this big clusterfuck, and then they put the title Batman and Superman on it so that more people will go see it. And it seemed to work, so well done. This film is 1 part Man of Steel 2, 1 part a solo Batman film, 1 part Batman vs Superman, 1 part Justice League beginning setup, and 1 part which I won't spoil just yet. I was honestly so bored and tired throughout the majority of this film, and that's really sad to say. There were bits I enjoyed, like the Batman stuff was good, Lex Luthor was entertaining to me, and the action was good, even though I didn't really care about it that much. I was entertained for about 12 minutes of this, 2.5 hour film, and that simply isn't good enough for a film that has the potential to be so phenomenal. Like, I was exhausted at the end of this film when I should have been exhilarated. Okay, I'm going to go into the spoilers now, but before I say that, I'll give you my score. I'd give this film a 4 out of 10. Like, just because, to me, 5 is average, not 7, as some people seem to think it is. And, yeah, this film was just below average for me, so 4 out of 10. 1 point for Ben Affleck's Batman, 1 point for the visuals, 1 point for Lex Luthor, which, a lot of people didn't like, and 1 point for good action scenes. So, thanks very much for watching and listening to my thoughts on Batman vs Superman. Thanks very much. See you later.